Hello, my lovely friends, and happy Wednesday, the 16th of December. I have been at the hairdresser all day long. She was so busy, oh my goodness, but look, I'm all blended through again now, so my greys are blended through with the blonde. Eventually, we'll just be able to just naturally let it go. But it's so nice to have it blended again. Yay, she did a good job. But yeah, because I was there all day, I didn't really get a lot done. So I'm going to spend some time doing some squaring up of my half square triangle blocks, and I might take you with me. So friends, I thought perhaps, because what I'm going to do tonight is very boring squaring up of all these half square triangles, I thought perhaps, and this idea came from Linda, who asked me a question in the comments of one of my videos about my kids. And I thought, oh, what a great idea. I haven't really introduced myself and you don't really know that much about me. So I thought perhaps today I'd fill you in on a few things. And then if you have any questions, or you want to have a bit of a sticky bit about anything else, you can write it in the comments of this video. So while I'm squaring all these up, let's have a bit of a chat about me. So interesting. So I am 40 and fabulous. I turned 40 in September of this year, and it was a bit of a crazy time with everything happening with the pandemic. But I still managed to have a really nice birthday. I did actually, I think, do some footage in one of the videos, which I can link the video here if I can work out how to do it. Okay, so where do I live? I live in Queensland, Australia, in a little bayside town. I'm very lucky actually where I live, even though I always complain about it being stinking hot. It's really quite beautiful, and I am close to the water. Like the end of my street is the water. Yeah, it's a lovely spot. I really do think this is a great place to raise my family. One day I would like to move to the country because I do get claustrophobic in busy places. As social as I am, like I do enjoy being social and being out with a lot of people, but I find it actually really wears me out. And sometimes I just want to have some space like around me. I don't know. My mum actually lives close to the city, and I just find it's very claustrophobic. She, of course, loves it, but I just find just being that close to so many people just very, I don't know, it just puts me on edge. And I find it very hard to relax. Whereas stick me in front of a field and I'm just so zen. That's my place. That's where I need to be in the world, is somewhere with lots of space where I can listen to cows. Okay, so we live in a 4-bedroom house. It's not a big house. It's not a small house either. But where some houses have multiple living areas and things like that, we just have the one living area. We actually built in the garage to have an extra bedroom where Harry and Lachlan are in that room. So it's all air conditioned in there now, and you know, it's a great teenage little escape. And it means that I get to have this bedroom as my sewing room, which is a bit special. What else? So in this lovely little house of ours is myself and my husband. His name is Clayton. He's wonderful, but you probably won't see much of him because he's quite camera shy. And yeah, he's just altogether shy, but he's quite camera shy. And then there's my 4 children. So my eldest are twins. They are 18, turning 19 on Australia Day, which is the 26th of January. They were born premature. And I mean very premature. They were 24 weekers. And 24 weeks was the cutoff for resuscitation. So they just made it into the world, really, by like a day. If they'd decided to come a day earlier, they would not have put them in intensive care. So yeah, so 24 weekers, it was a really hard time. And I think I handled it really well, but I struggle now when there's like hospital shows with premature babies and things on the hospital shows. The sound of the alarms that the machines make, it actually triggers like PTSD? Like I actually have a little bit of a panic attack when I hear those alarms, because there were so many times back then, and I was only young, I was 21, so many times that I was pushed out of the room where my babies were while they resuscitated them, and I would have the hospital minister or reverend or whatever he was come and sit with me to help me in case they passed away and they couldn't be resuscitated. So many times. Like they were so prem when they were born that their skin was still actually see-through and their eyes hadn't even opened yet. They were still like little baby kittens. They didn't even open their eyes until a couple of days. They were so tiny. You wouldn't think it to look at them now though. So long-term effects from being that prem. Harry, very little. Lachlan has got quite a few issues with his lungs, and he also has cerebral palsy. He has fantastic use of his arms, can computer game along with the rest of them, is incredibly bright, but no use of his legs really. Yeah, they are hard work for him to move around. He is in a wheelchair 100% of the time. He can use a manual wheelchair himself, but because of his chronic lung disease, he can't do long distances or hills in the manual wheelchair. So we, for years, were trying to get a electric chair just so he could have some independence and not need someone to push him around. And this year, he finally got it. Can you imagine having to wait until you were 18 years old before you were ever able to do something by yourself? Honestly, that just blows my mind. He is one patient bloody kiddo, because I don't know that I could have done that. By his age, I was living out of home on my own. So yeah, so that's the twins. They're nearly 19. Then I have my daughter, my one and only little girl, and she is 15. She was also prem, but not by much. It was like only a week, because she was born at 36 weeks and they consider 37 weeks term. So yeah, and she was a chunk anyway. Like she was 8 pounds 4 weeks early. I was so happy when I found out I was having a girl when I was pregnant with Katie. But at the same time, I kind of didn't really believe, like it was kind of too good to be true. Because you've got to realize I'm the eldest of 5, and I have 4 younger brothers. And then I had twin boys. And just to even think that it was even possible that I was finally going to have a little girl, I was too good to be true. So in my hospital bag for her, I packed all yellow clothes just in case they got it wrong. Isn't that funny? Because I can remember when I found out I was pregnant with the boys, I was so sad that I was having twin boys that I had to force myself to go to the shops and try to find blue outfits just to cheer myself up. And I couldn't do it. I bought white things because I couldn't do it. Not after having 4 brothers. But anyway. Yeah, she's my little princess. And we have a bit of a special thing, us girls. And then Mason, my little pocket rocket, the youngest of the crew, is 9. Mason was my only full-term bubba. And as it turns out, I think that had a lot to do with the fact that I had an incredibly on-the-ball obstetrician. So for the other kids, we used the public medical system. But for Mason, we went private. So it just means you pay a lot more money. So he was born privately. He had a private obstetrician. And one of my visits with the obstetrician, he said to me, he said, "You've got a heart murmur." I said, yeah, I know. I've always had that. And he said, "Oh, and what did they say?" And I said, "What do you mean, what did they say?" And he said, "Well, when you had it checked." I said, "Oh, I've never had it checked. I've just been told I have one." And he said, you're telling me you've never had it checked?" And I said, "No, well, no one seemed to need me to have it checked." And he said, "Well, I need you to." And so within the hour, I was getting it checked out. I was getting a scan done. And the person doing the scan said, just a second. I'll be back in a second. And he got up, left the room, brought back someone else. And they've come over to the scan and they're looking at a few things. And they said, just a second, we're just a second. And they went out and they got someone else to come back. And now I'm starting to panic because that sort of thing doesn't happen if everything's A-okay. So I'm starting to wonder what's going on with this heart murmur of mine. Well, it turns out I wasn't going to find out that day. They sent me to a specialist in another hospital. So I went to the specialist in this other hospital and had more tests and scans done. And it turned out that I actually had a congenital heart defect. So that means that it's a problem with my heart that I was born with. So how old was I when I had him? So I was 30 when I had him. Is that right? Yeah, 30, 31. I don't know, around there. So for all those years, I'd gone through life with this heart problem, and not once did anyone feel the need to check it out. Not even as a child. Like, what the heck, man? So it turned out to be what they call a multifenestrated atrial septum defect, or a multifenestrated ASD. And that's kind of just where the walls of your heart chambers are like Swiss cheese. And so the blood never actually really gets enough oxygen. And the right side of my heart had shown signs of starting to die off. So they said, we need to operate on this straight away, as soon as possible. So I was pregnant with Mason at this point. They said, as soon as you've had this baby, you need to have this operated on. And at first they thought they were going to be able to do it with keyhole surgery. But it turns out it was quite a job. And so when Mason was 11 weeks old, I managed to push for 11 weeks. I had to really push for that because I wanted to have some bonding time with my baby before they cut me open. Because once I had the surgery, I couldn't even just lift him up. I'd have to wait for someone to come and hand me my baby because they saw you open. So, yeah. So anyway, 11 weeks, yes, is when I had the open heart surgery. And man, it knocked me around. Oh, that was hard work. To be recovering from pregnancy and birth by itself is a big job, as any mother will tell you. But to recover from pregnancy and giving birth and open heart surgery, like that was a journey. That was a journey. But then it turns out that's not the only thing wrong with my silly old body. The other thing I was born with, which I found out after going to the doctor and saying, look, my lower back is just always sore. It's always sore. I don't know, like have I slipped a disc or something? It's just always sore. So anyway, I had scans on my lower back, and it turns out I also have spina bifida occulta, which is just the reason why we take folate when we're pregnant. It's just like a section of the spine doesn't close up. So yeah, that's just pain that I just have to deal with. There is surgery options that I can have, but the chances of it actually making a difference pain-wise, the odds aren't really good enough for me to have someone fiddling around with my spine. So I just stick with heat packs and Panadol. So I wonder what else you'd like to know. My work. So I work in special ed. I also have a business of my own, which is in disability support. I take people with disabilities of all sorts to go to appointments, go out into the community, access things they would otherwise miss out on, just to socialise. I do some private sewing lessons, just all sorts of things. So originally when I left school, I actually did an apprenticeship in hairdressing and worked in a barbershop for a lot of years. I did hair for weddings and yeah, all that. It was great and I enjoyed it. It was hard work, and hairdressers, can I tell you, do not get the appreciation they deserve because you don't get lunch breaks. You barely get toilet breaks, much like teaching, really. It's hard work, and it's very, very underpaid. I know a lot of people complain about how much it costs to get your hair done, and they want $10 haircuts, but can I tell you, these people are professionals. And the dollars that you spend getting your hair done are well and truly worth it because they have done a lot of training to get where they are. And yeah, you're paying for a professional service. So don't complain about the cost of your hairdresser. What else can I tell you? Oh, I can tell you about my puppy dog. So my puppy dog, Stella, is almost 5, we think. She is a rescue dog. We got her when she was approximately 6 months old. And can I tell you, in the years that we've had her, she has devoured through destructive chewing thousands of dollars worth of stuff. Thousands. It is so lucky we love her. She's gotten a lot better now, but I suspect that if it wasn't because she was a runaway, I would suspect that possibly the reason she was at the shelter is she would have chewed the last thing at her previous owner's house, would be my guess. Because man, that dog has chewed through lounge chairs, dining chairs. Like, I'm saying chewed through because there was nothing left. So many clothes, so many quilts that I've made.
quilts that I have made. When she's done that, I couldn't even look at her. Couldn't even look at her. But yeah, she's getting better. She still gets in trouble for chewing the odd thing. But, oh my gosh, we just love her so much. We really do. She is an absolute maniac of a dog. But we just love her. Love her to pieces. She is just, despite the need to chew things, she has just the gentlest soul. You might like to know, maybe, how I got into sewing. So no one in my family was really a sewer. They could sew, but they weren't really a sewer. Like, I'm a sewer. So yeah, when I wanted to learn to sew, it was actually because I wanted initially to make Christmas napkins, because I wanted white Christmas napkins with just a tone on. I saw this fabric and I just loved it. It was tone on tone holly, all white, and I wanted it as Christmas napkins. And so I bought a sewing machine off the Trading Post. It cost $30. I had no idea how to thread it. I had to get help to thread it because I didn't know what to do. And I think I got help to thread it like way too many times. Because I failed sewing in high school. I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. We had to make a pair of shorts. Do you think I could do that? Nope. Nope. So I was no good in high school, and I think I had a fear of it, and I think it kind of blocked me. I can remember as a kid listening to my mum, who would never curse, listening to my mum sewing curtains for a house that we lived in when I was probably about 10. I was probably about 10. And she was sewing these curtains at the dining room table on this old Singer sewing machine. And it was like the first time I'd ever really heard her curse. Like, I'd heard her yell at kids, and, you know, there was 5 of us. Of course she did. But her cursing at that sewing machine instilled a fear of sewing, because it was something that my mother couldn't do, and my mum could do everything. And I think when I did sewing in high school, that mental image just, it was like I just turned off the ability to sew before I even learned how to do it. But anyway, years later, I wanted Christmas napkins. I bought a sewing machine and I kind of just winged it, and they worked. And then soon after that, my friend fell pregnant, and I really wanted to give her a handmade gift. And so I YouTubed how to do a quilt, and it was a rag quilt. And when I think back at it, it was really ugly. It was a really ugly quilt. But I made it, and it kind of started something. And I just kind of kept trying new things and making it. So I guess I've been kind of sewing little bits and pieces since about 2014. So not a huge amount of time, but geez, since then, like, at first I was wondering if it was going to be one of those hobbies that you pick up and drop pretty soon after because it's too much work. But no, it's just been like such a stress reliever for me. It's like a real escape. Even just doing this, even just squaring up half square triangles is just so soothing. Like, just to have these perfect little squares of these gorgeous fabrics, and it just makes me so happy to sit here and do this. It's just so rhythmic, maybe. I don't know what it is. It just makes me happy. And so I've just always sewn since then. And I guess the reason I started this channel was because I figured there's probably other people out in the world a bit like me who don't come from a background of, you know, generations of people that sewed or quilted, but just want to give it a crack. And you know what? If I can do it after failing home ec, Anyone can do it. And I'm not a perfect sewer. I'm not a perfect quilter. There's so much that I don't know. And I kind of just learn as I go. But I figure that to be real and learn as I go and do it on here, perhaps, maybe, someone else who just needs to learn as they go, just, I don't know, they might get some inspiration and some can-do attitude from that. Because honestly, yeah, if I can do it, anyone can do it. So I think I'm gonna finish this here. It is getting hot in this room. I have a bit of a sweat mustache happening. You really wanted to know that, didn't you? I am going to finish this up here. But if there's any questions that you have that you want me to answer, yeah, feel free to ask me in the comments, because I'd love to have a bit of a chat with you. I did notice in comments that in other videos that some of you have worked in schools as well, and have worked in special ed as well. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's nice. We've got common ground. That's really cool. Maybe let me know how long you've been sewing and what inspired you to start. And yeah, it just would be really interesting to know this. Like, do you quilt? Do you sew clothes? Do you crochet? Do you knit? Do you knit? Can you knit socks? Because I want to learn to knit socks. It's all a bit of fun, but we're going to finish now because I don't want you to fall asleep, and I'm pretty sure I'll put you there because I can drone on a little bit, can't I? Let me show you. A little bowl full of half square triangles. This is a rope bowl that I made. Have you ever made rope bowl? Maybe I'll show you how to do a rope bowl one day. They're a lot of fun. Okay guys, we're going to finish up today by doing the advent calendar, and we've got beautiful Katie going to help us out again today. And we're up to number 16. I am so glad she's struggling with this and it's not just me. Yeah. Oh. Skin brightening facial mud mask.
You can have that. I had the last face mask.
I'm all about the mud masks. You know what? I reckon we could both do this on the same day.
Yeah.
That'd be enough. What is it going to do for us? Skin brightening, so it's going to brighten our skin. It's from New Zealand. Mud paint your face to deeply deliver skin brightening extracts for instant light and lift. Help improve your skin's appearance with antioxidant compound, whatever that word is, grape and kiwi.
Does it smell nice?
Let's have a look. She's like me. Needs to know the smell. Hold that for me.
Yeah.
Or we've got to pierce it. Will we pierce it?
Yeah. It's worth it.
Oh, it actually does. It smells like...
It smells good.
What does it smell like? Does it tell you on the box?
Doesn't it smell like
Kiwi. Didn't smell like kiwi though. Oh, I didn't let you smell it.
Yes, you did.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh. Grape and kiwi. I didn't smell grape and kiwi.
It smells familiar, but I can't pinpoint it.
Very nice. All right. We'll mud mask it up. Maybe tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay.
To a Christmas movie.
Yes, to a Christmas movie. Awesome. Okay. Oh, bye, Katie.
Okay, hold up. What is that?
What is what?
The little bunny thing.
This?
Yeah.
They're the pom-poms.
Wait, you got pom-pom? Oh, for
the beanies. Okay, that is it from me today. Thank you so much for joining me again. I will see you again tomorrow. Tomorrow was supposed to be a day off, but I did get a job in, so it's going to be a half day off. I'm only working half a day, so I should be home by 1 in the afternoon, and that will give me a few hours to hopefully get some quilting started on my dear Christmas quilt. So I will see you again tomorrow. Thank you for popping in again. It's always lovely to have you here. Bye.